moment. So yeah, it looks like they're just going to go for the Aphelios. And I think with the rise of Poppy, Wukong's dominance in the meta has kind of diminished to a certain extent as well. So it looks like at least we're seeing RNG kind of turn over that new leaf on the meta that we're seeing, where they're not just going to go straight for the Monkey King. They're going to instead see if they can give that across to BLG and take the Poppy for themselves.
We'll see what they want to go for here. BLG might go for the Ahri themselves. Let's see a nice little move there as they do end up locking that one in. But yeah, again, RNG kind of happy to take the Aphelios and get a solid bot lane again.
Yeah, so it feels like Ahri, Jinx probably going to be the pickup here for Ryze and Crisp. But actually, they're just going to take the Poppy for themselves. So I wasn't sure if they're going to try and leave that for a little bit. But you've got at least a little bit of setup here coming through from Icon if you'd like to. And then I imagine on third pick they'll go towards something like the Jinx. The only thing here is that you then have to try and figure out here how RNG want to try and match this. Because, well, if they take the Wukong, you take Poppy, then you can always go for a top lane pick like the Gnar if you want to for Breathe, and then cause a little bit of an off-kilter for BLG, where you can ban away a couple of AD carries and make life a bit uncomfortable for Ryze in that bottom lane.
Yeah, could take mid lane as well and just kind of say, look, you're going to have to pick your AD carry here anyway, and we'll just burn down either the support or the top lane pool themselves. So Taliyah going to be locked in here. So you get the Taliyah and the Poppy locked and loaded. We're seeing that combination coming out for a lot of teams right now. The Taliyah Poppy combination, it does, you know, you have that thing of like when it goes in with the heroic charge, you're kind of saying, oh look, you just don't be near a wall and you'll be fine. But Taliyah creates the walls, and Taliyah can move you into positions that you weren't prepared to be in. So that combination when in the right hands can work exceptionally well.
Especially if you have immobile AD carries, it makes things a little bit easier to even like open up the fight a bit more, because you can keep Jinx at bay using that Weaver's Wall. Then Poppy can slam some of the team into it and make sure that you're able to have these great fights. And being able to control a lot of the pace of the team fights and who gets to go where can be a very, very big boon for RNG. We're going to have to see how they manage it. Jinx, we already talked about, going to be picked up by BLG. And I imagine we're going to see the support bans coming through from BLG here. Probably things like the Leona and this kind of stuff, because they would like to potentially look for Crisp on the Nautilus. But it looks like instead, with the Nautilus ban, they may just be going towards something like a Thresh here for the Jinx.
Yeah, might be going for something like the Thresh. The Nautilus ban away. Again, Ming on Nautilus. It is quite literally one of his best champions, if not his best, in my opinion, in the entirety of his career. Gonna ban that one away. We might see now again the Gnar being banned away. Take things away from Bin that he could feel comfortable on, as now BLG start to think about whereabouts they want to take their final ban. Again, the Thresh could be the option here. Tahm Kench is still technically available as well, but we did see for Crisp. I don't like seeing Crisp on things like Tahm Kench, because in my mind, Crisp is such a massive proponent of what is good about BLG, and having him on something that's so passive just doesn't feel right.
He's such a good playmaker. Like, you really do want to see him on something that can lean into that style. Like, he's one of the few guys that is still willing to bring out the Thresh. He's looked great at things like the Renata, and even having stuff like the Leona there as well has been super important. So I think there's definitely a lot here where Crisp has windows of opportunity to work with. It's just a case of what he wants to try and go for. And I think the question is if you end up seeing something like, like I'm trying to figure out if you actually maybe look for a counter pick support here, because I think Yuumi could actually work really well with BLG's composition. So that actually might be the game plan here, where they see, hey, if we get a Tahm Kench here on RNG's side, maybe we just go towards Yuumi. So they're going to take away the GP, which is what RNG were trying to set up with their bans. And I think this is a great call here, actually, for Bilibili.
Yeah, will be the second most picked champion here for Bin, as he does have 8 games so far this season, and does end up locking that one in. So the draft seems to be working fairly well here for BLG. Not a huge amount of answers available to RNG as of the moment, and we'll wait to see what they want to try and round out their composition. We do expect them to get the support, and like you said, get a bit of a support answer coming out here for BLG as we wait to see what the top side pick is going to be. I do like the Sejuani here for Breathe. I think that Sejuani could do very well in terms of mitigating the early game presence of the Gangplank, but it doesn't really have the kill pressure because he eats an orange and he's K.
Yeah, and that's the big thing, is like you are just trying to add engage tools in onto RNG's side to see what you want to go for. If you do take the Leona here for Ming, it does add another engage tool, but I think Crisp just goes straight towards the Thresh. You've already got great engage tools with on BLG's side. You can save people if they do get separated on your side as well. But I mean, with the Tahm Kench potential swap up here, again, Yuumi an option for Crisp. Like, there's actually a lot you can do here on for Crisp in the support role.
I love the Rakan as well, if they end up going for it. I think Rakan is one of the things that I always think about for Crisp, that he's so exceptionally good at. And I will say, as he flutters through a myriad of champions, he has played 12 unique supports so far this split. He has been so diverse in being what he needs to be for his team. And for BLG, I think the Braum would be a 13th, actually, if he ends up locking that one in. So this will bring us to 13 unique picks. And there it is, number 13, lucky for some, as BLG look to try and keep themselves in this series.
And I like the idea here from BLG. They're like, hey, look, we have enough engage already with Gangplank, in with the Wukong, who, again, will kind of struggle a little bit because of the Poppy, but you also got the Ahri there to try and help you out in that regard, too. So I think overall, you're in a great spot here for BLG as they start to look towards, hey, we want to go for these team fights, and then having a bit of disengage if you ever find yourself in harm's way thanks to BLG, sorry, because of the way RNG want to play, is great, but also one of the big understated things for Braum, being able to block that Weaver's wall.
Yes.
It means that you're not going to actually be able to just toss that one out and interrupt the kite out potential for BLG.
Absolutely, and I think the big thing that we kind of, one of the most powerful elements of the Braum isn't even anything that he's actively on his kit, it's his passive, the concussive blows, getting those onto multiple carries and just letting that kind of constant CC come down onto multiple members can be huge. It's why we see him invade so often. They look confident because, again, you have that extra little bit of CC available to you, but it will be curious to see now how they're able to kind of kite this competition. I think BLG have a great composition for what they want to try and do if they can execute on it, and that is the big question, because the biggest thing we've had for BLG is that they may have a good start to the game, but when it hits that mid-game, they just don't really know where to go.
And a hyper late game scaling composition with their squad once more as well, right? Jinx for late game, Gangplank for late game. They don't really have a lot of tools to try and operate in these early stages. They can try and like feed some resources in towards the Jinx in the bottom lane by getting some vision control set up, and just allowing the Jinx to naturally push the wave with the advantageous matchup that they have, but not really having anywhere that they can truly try and like set up any advantages. They could try and play through mid to a certain extent, but I actually think it becomes a little bit more difficult just because Xiaohu has the E that he can put down to interrupt any dashes from Ahri and interrupt dashes from Khan. You have the steadfast presence. You got a good amount of damage you can chuck back. It just becomes kind of difficult because of the kits that the mid jungle from BLG have to operate that 2v2 correctly.
Yeah, well, we'll have to wait and see which way it ends up going. We are jumping onto the Rift for our second game in this best of three. It could be our last game of the day. Yes! 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 No, they can't coordinate it. They can't coordinate it. But what was all niceness and sunshine down the bot side is actually a little bit of aggression coming out here from RNG in the top lane. They've overestimated. I'm sorry, they're still trying to get it going. I'm loving this ring around the rosy.
Yeah. Oh, they nearly had it there, but not quite.
But
yeah, I love how nobody is taking a page from Ming and Chris' book, just being like, look, we can be friends.
Power of friendship.
And it hasn't even, the camps haven't even spawned. No. I mean, you know, look, sometimes you just got to be friends across the board. I mean, you've even seen I think it was it Wayward who was doing it in the top side in a couple of his games as well?
Yes,
where they,
yes.
Yeah. There's been some real nice camaraderie in the LPL.
It got to be done, you know. It's a long split, and sometimes, you know, you meet a lot of these people in solo queue. They're on your team, you know. Sometimes you get their role, sometimes they get yours, and you have to be a bit of fun with it. But no more niceties. What camps have spawned, minions are in the wave, and now we'll start to see what these teams can do as we wait to see where they want to go with their particular pathings. Both junglers going to be pathing up towards the top side of the map. I will say you have got a little bit of extra, I suppose, creativity available to you on the side of RNG, especially with the Poppy. You can kind of pick and choose which camp she wants to go for first, but I imagine it'll be a full clear, or relatively full clear for the Poppy right up into the top side.
Yeah, essentially, Wei just going to take it nice and easy. You've got push here for Xiaohu in the mid lane, so they should be able to lean down to the bottom side to try and help out. It will mean that Ryze and Crisp will have to play a little bit defensive as well, just because he should realize eventually that that you're going to be in a bit of a problem here for Wei's pathing. But actually, I wasn't sure. Sorry, I thought he was going to try and rope back down towards this bot side, but his Krug's not taken. But it looks like he's actually just going to try and commit fully to this top side, which is going to be a little bit of an issue if he runs into Khan, because Bane will also have the position on top side here.
Yeah, he's skipping Wolves as well for the moment, but
yeah, he will come back down.
He is going to kind of start coming back down. He just wanted to start from the top and bring himself all the way to make it as efficient pathing as possible, recognizing that but Breathe pretty much underneath this tower. He's not really in any danger to get caught out in this particular stage of the game. So with the push down on bot side, BLG going to be able to get the reset in. Nothing really too untoward to be talking about there. And again, I imagine we are going to be having a very slow, methodical start to this game where both sides just trade back sides of the map and try and maybe make a small advantage for themselves.
So Crisp's going to see if he can get a ward down, but will actually be spotted here by Wei, but I don't think Wei really wants to try and go for anything too untoward. Khan has taken the scuttle on the top side, now maybe looking for something in the mid lane.
Yeah, you can see that Wei was actually trying to set himself up to get that second scuttle, but Crisp is already playing kind of keep away from him right now as Rise just jump in as well. So right now it looks like it is just going to be the double scuttle. This is unfortunately how it ends up going. You just do not have the priority as a Jinx, or against the Jinx I should say, as an Aphelios and a Tahm Kench, so you're going to have to just accept that the double scuttles are going to go to the opposite side.
So Con at least getting a bit of a bite back for game 1, where Wei was actually able to get the double scuttle, but this time it will be the Wukong who comes off with a little bit of an advantage. I'm not sure, I think he did just place a ward as he's about to leave there, so should have an idea of what route was taken by Wei and when the camps are going to be spawning yet. Just placed it there as he left. So we'll spot out that the Raptors are about to respawn, so we'll have full information as to what the pathing from Wei should be.
We can certainly hope so, as we see bot lane going for some early game skirmishing. You do get a Cole coming out from Rise as he gets himself up to a Kraken Slayer as quick as he possibly can. There is another ward here from, as you mentioned, BLG, so Wei not going to be as sneaky as he thought he was going to be, and sadly they will have full information as an on the side of RNG or on the side of BLG of where RNG are, as Gala with the Infernum and the Gravitum should be fine just to be able to keep himself safe.
Yeah, this is the thing that we were talking about, which is a little bit more common when we used to see this matchup a lot, like Crash 4th wave for the Jinx, reset, get your Cole, and you're already back here, so it makes it really uncomfortable for Gala to try and answer on that reset because you can push the wave so much faster as the Jinx. But Finn now pushed underneath his turret, and Khan wants to see if he can help him out.
Yeah, Khan is thinking about it, but Breathe, you really didn't need to go for that Demolish proc right there. No flash, and no way to get out. He's going to be able to try and trade back a little bit of a health bar. At the end of it all, he ends up being first blooded, but that means we can go for an immediate engage. They get the double knock up into a double Gravitum. That's going to be forcing out the heal there from Rise. He still has his flash available to him. They do get the concussive blows down onto Ming, but Ming is still trading this one back. Actually, you can see now they got the Ahri icon going for a little bit of a roam. The early proactivity that we talked about earlier. They're going to get the concussive blows down. It's Crisp has to flash away. He's not quite able to get taken out though, as Ming's been left to the waters, and that's going to be another kill for BLG. A much better start to this game.
Great roam from Icon, and this is something that we talk about a lot with Icon is, look, he will sacrifice himself in mid lane. You can see Bin has to TP in to catch this wave, just so he can try and help out his team, and willing to set himself behind in the CS department so this bot lane can get themselves back in order. And that means now you get to push in this wave as Rise, you get to get an easier reset, you're in a great position, and as well you're also getting resource across for Bin. So I mean, this here, great engage from Ming, like being able to catch both folks, but unfortunately Gala ends up having to move in through the chomper as he's getting caught between all the minions, so can't really follow up onto Rise, and they just don't realize that Icon has already gone from the mid lane, because this is what Icon does best, kind of taking these abnormal roam timers to catch people with their pants down.
And that's what BLG need to be doing if they want to try and come out with a win here today. They need to try and put RNG on the back foot. They need to try and keep them at a point where they're not controlling the pace of the game. And getting this first dragon as well can do a lot for the side of BLG. We saw it in game 1. RNG got all 4 dragons off spawn, had such an early Hex soul, and there was basically nothing they could do there on the side of BLG. I will say the dragon is taking a while for them to be able to take down, and maybe they look to try and go for a steal here. Actually, he's going to go over the wall. He's going to look for it. He's going to try and get it! Wei with daylight robbery. This man and smite steals, my dude.
It's actually insane how often Wei is able to manage this. Gets away completely with that one. And, ooh, actually Icon going to take a bit of a chunk of damage here, but I mean, just really nice job. Does have to burn the flash, but getting an early dragon under your back pocket in a position you should never have that is going to go greatly now for RNG.
Yeah, let's have a look at the replay here, because again, the dragon did reset a little bit, so he goes over, gets it in, and yep, just puts down the steadfast presence so he cannot be CC'd, and then actually, funny enough, having put the steadfast presence on the Kong gets CC'd himself.
Yeah. So nothing you can do. I mean, just not clearing out that ward at the back of the pit. A little bit irresponsible from BLG, but does mean the Wei is able to steal that one away. And now Bin.
Here we go. They're going to go for the full engage here. The Cannon Barrage comes down. They do get the orange out of him, though. And now they might try and fully engage. There's the ultimate to flash away, but the nice little Q afterwards means that Wei picks up another one, and Wei is just running around the map. This Poppy is proving so powerful for RNG.
Yeah, Wei is doing fantastic here, managing to get that kill on the top side. Just got off the back of the Dragon Steel as well. Still, though, BLG have a bit of a lead. We got the early kill onto Breathe because he overextended, so at least it's only equally back that. And you still have that roam from Icon that worked out greatly for them on bot side, giving control for Rise and Crisp a little bit in this bot lane as well, which is going to be very, very crucial for them. So, I mean, although RNG have got some stuff back, BLG still have a decent position here, especially as they start to work on this Rift Herald.
little bit of a mistake there for Breed. He didn't actually get in range of the plate going down, so it was literally going to go down as all he had to do was recall in the area. But now Wei saying, hello, Can. Welcome back to the Smite fight. He hasn't got Smite himself at the moment, Wei, but he is starting to roam over towards this. But with all the resets coming, he is 1v4 at the moment. You need, back away, Wei. I'm sorry. I love you, but you can't be going for that steal right now.
Just on a very side note, I do like the amount of Christmas skins that are in this game in the middle of summer, and we're both sweating buckets in shorts and shirt here. But, but on the side note, back to reality, BLG, at least picking up the Rift Herald, they should be able to use that gold alongside Ryze in the bot lane. I'd like to see it to get some of these plates into the Jinx. Jinx is going to be your main damage dealer in this composition, and getting her up and rolling is going to be great.
Ben, I've seen this one before. You've no flash. You will have an orange, but Wei's already put himself behind him and said, all right, Ben, you're going to be dying, as they go in and say, welcome to the rest of your life. And that's going to be Bin falling down to Xiaohu. Former mid laner and top laner, sadly on the wrong side of this one is Bin and RNG. They're just kind of getting those good rotations out. They lose nothing because of that. I
mean, it's a good roam from Xiaohu, but as you say, I want to see what the answer is going to be from BLG. Khan was finishing off his red buff, but could actually rotate here with Icon down to the bot side as this big wave is being prepped. They do have the Rift Herald as well. I'd love to see a cross map here, but Khan more interested in the Scuttle Crab, it feels like right now.
Yeah, no Cannon Barrage or TP on Bin either, so a top wave is going to be crashed, and we can see now the Breed's making his way down. There's going to be a fight over Scuttle for the moment. Ends up going the side of BLG, and a Smite comes in, but yeah, they can't even drop the Rift Herald mid anymore.
But that was the thing, like, Khan just needed to forget about the Scuttle, move through mid, Icon pushes in that wave. You have a freeze on bot side that Ryze can break at pretty much any point in time, so you move down with your mid laner to make a play on bot side in response, because you know Wei is committed to the top side. But this is why we kind of talk about BLG missing opportunities when it comes to the early and mid game. Like, you're not actually getting any advantages or answering the cross map for the plays that RNG are making.
Yeah, and it does feel like RNG just play it smarter and kind of say, look, we know you're not going to do anything, so we can commit resources up to the top side. We can look to make it as difficult as possible for you to go for it. And yes, it's still a slight gold league in favor of BLG, but we've been here before, Dagda. Last game, BLG were keeping in tow, if not a little bit ahead, and they just didn't quite make anything work from it.
Icon says, thank you for the leash. I'll take a good chunk of them. So Xiaohu will be able to kind of go for a quick reset here if he wants to pick up his item, but it looks like not going to be able to do so with Icon seeing away with that. But I will say exactly, the problem that we're seeing from BLG is that when you have a team like RNG that doesn't give you a huge amount of windows to get into the game, you have to take every advantage that you can. And in a situation like this where you're up for Khan, and when it comes towards the CS, when it comes to experience, and you've got Icon with pushing mid, you need to be making plays off that advantage.
Oh, Khan just jump over with the decoy, but you can see the priority right now from BLG is going to be that Dragon. Triforce has just been completed for Bin, so doesn't have the Cannon Barrage at the moment. Did use it to try and clear a wave to get himself a decent reset, but RNG, they could just go for the same kind of switcheroo, kind of say, like, you know, we're happy to let Gala leave or stay in this bot side as he's pushing in that wave. And he actually got a couple of solo plates as well. So RNG kind of bringing themselves back up into this game and saying, look, we don't mind giving up this first or second dragon because we got the first one.
And I think that's your best bet. BLG, though, will get charge at mid, which should give some nice gold to Icon. They should be in a position as well to try and look for the dragon. But Wei's actually the one that's positioned himself on that. So looks like RNG might actually look for a fight.
Yeah, it looks like BLG weren't fully committed onto it just yet, so RNG going to start up the dragon straight away. And yeah, Crisp is the only one there. This is RNG just saying, yeah, we'll call your bluff. We got a TP onto Breed, so he's going to be able to get himself out, but they might be able to delay it. Yep, there's the Cyclone coming out. So nicely done there by Khan, recognizing there would be a little bit of a lazy recall or a lazy reset there. And honestly, this is great for Bin. Bin gets a lot of free time and a lot of free plates.
Yeah, I mean, so you get the plates in mid, you get plates top, so BLG getting an immediate influx of gold onto both solo laners could bode pretty well for them, but it will be a case of how well they can now utilize those advantages, because 2 dragons already picked up, a third in on its way potentially for RNG. And look, it is Cloud, which obviously isn't ideal for RNG, but still will be able to put a good amount of pressure on towards BLG when it comes to the soul in potentially 10 to 15 minutes.
And that's the thing as well, that not only does it, you know, you get, the best way I can always put this is that you get the first 2 dragons. What it does is it gives you the choice. It gives you the choice of, do you want to contest for the next 2, 3 dragons? Do you really care about the soul if it's not for free? That's how you got to try and look at this one here. And honestly, for RNG, that's all they really want as well. They just want to be able to be in this position to kind of pick and choose their fights, look to try and put them in. I will say they have got a fantastic team fight around those dragons, should they choose to go for them. But it's going to be a big shoulda, woulda, coulda as we come into the later stages of the game. But right now, it is all about BLG kind of pushing in that top side, or getting pushed in that top side, trying to get as much gold as they possibly can. And right now, both teams just happy to let this one go a little bit later than, you know, again, similar to game one, just take it slow, take your advantages when you can.
I will say, though, I feel like in that scenario, BLG have the stronger team fight. Jinx should be able to match the Aphelios. The Gangplank going to be able to provide a little bit more when it comes to damage, especially against a short-range composition that RNG has. It can bode pretty well to have a Gangplank in your roster. So I think from that perspective, I do give an edge to BLG. But we've just seen that in situations like this, RNG are just better at team fighting, better at executing in those scenarios, which is something that BLG are going to have to overcome.
All way, recognizes he's been discovered. Now it's going to be in a little bit of a 1v1. The smite comes down. Can just pick up that one for himself. So gets a little bit of revenge for the earlier Dragon steal and sets himself back up towards that top side. We'll have Rift Herald spawning in 30 seconds. And again, like I said, RNG love to fight over that objective. Crisp has to flash away, but he's got no one around him right now and has to put up the Unbreakable as well. So having Ryze in the vicinity does give him a little bit of an out, but that's, again, another summoner down. This is why we see RNG just kind of pushing the narrative on this so much. They push themselves to a position where they can make something happen, just like what Wei's doing there.
Steadfast Presence is a longer cooldown than the engage from Khan, though, so they could actually look for take 2 here, which is why RNG are being very sketchy about walking up.
Very sketchy as RNG starts to put down the pressure. Gala, though, needs to be very careful. He gets devoured, and there's going to be the Keeper's verdict, saying that you cannot go on top of this one. Wei decides to go very aggressive as they're getting some decent damage there with Xiaohu. There's the Moonlight Vigil being eaten up by the Unbreakable of Crisp. And everyone's health bars have gotten a little bit lower. No one's died just yet. As they go right between the posts, BLG pick themselves up a penalty. Yeah, everyone trying to see if they can make that fight happen just as before the Rift Herald comes through. But now you've got 3 ultimates down on RNG. Weaver's Wall to top side. Yeah, they're going to look to try and fully convert this one. Yeah, you can't get anyone from BLG over here. You have to use a Spirit Rush just to try and get into position. Xiaohu, though, very low, will flash away. Nicely dodged out. And BLG tried so hard to help out Bin, but they just couldn't make it. And now they can't get the play on top side, so they actually can't turn over towards the Rift Herald. Whereas RNG, they reset. They've got good health bars going through, good stopwatch from Xiaohu to keep himself safe, and they should be the ones that are able to get the Rift Herald now because BLG tried to get a sneaky over on RNG in the top side. Yeah, and that's going to be 1 and 3 now for Bin. He's really being bullied in this matchup right now, and once he doesn't have his orange, he's very much vulnerable. It's kind of so much layering of CC you've got with the Poppy, the Taliyah, and of course the Sejuani as well. That's going to mean the the Rift Herald taken very low, not quite taken just yet, and there is going to be Wei putting up the Steadfast Presence and just kind of posturing him away. Still, though, BLG keep a little bit of a gold lead for themselves, and we'll have to see if they're going to be able to hand on to that. But you see here, Xiaohu goes through. Khan gives him a quick bonk as he walks past, tries to tell him that he's bold, but Xiaohu just doesn't really care. And as you say, we're not really in a position here for BLG to follow up. Xiaohu have to flash away from the orb as well, coming through from Icon. So overall, RNG just have to keep themselves safe after a nice play on top side. Yeah, we can see those Icon almost gets the flash into the Orb of Deception, but that was so close. So close. But again, Xiaohu proving why we consider him one of the top mid laners in our conversation for, you know, one of the top 3 mid laners in my opinion in the world, and just what he's able to do. So we'll wait to see what they want to go for right now as RNG now put themselves in position in that mid lane. They did lose their tier 1, and the TP comes out into the bot side. Xiaohu didn't quite actually have the seismic shove. Could have actually put Bin into a very bad position should he get that one off on him. But again, RNG, they can choose not to fight this if they don't want to, but it looks like they want to. RNG not really in position here with Xiaohu, at least now on the way, but BLG could have tried to burst this. They did hold off. Here we go. Keeper's verdict comes out, but the smite was good enough there from Khan as they try and just get the smite now going off the backside of this one. There's going to be the cannon barrage. Devour comes out as Crisp now tanking up as much damage as he possibly can. Breed waiting for the Arctic Assault to get himself over the wall, and he will do just that. There's the Gravitum gun on top of Icon, but he had the Spirit Rush left to keep himself safe, and that means that the Dragon goes over, nobody dies. A hell of a lot of ultimates were used. Well, they needed to get Xiaohu in a position where he could be a little bit better with his ultimate. He never actually got to throw it out, but that meant that he never got to separate out the fight, stop BLG from being able to kite back, because you've got great engage with you got great engage with Khan when needed, Icon to a certain extent as well, but BLG are able to use their range with Ryze to keep kiting backwards. You're walking into barrels from Bin. Crisp is able to slow that offense coming through from RNG, and you just don't have a lot of great engage apart from Breed. So if
you're not able to get yourselves situated on towards the objective first as RNG. You don't really have any right trying to fight an objective like that.
Yeah, and Bin now trying to see if he can get some pressure in the spot side. We'll just have a little bit of vision there in the try and rush and keep himself safe. And now RNG, like I said, still down in gold actually, but 2,500 in favor of BLG at the moment. So it is significant enough. It hasn't equated into any major items. I will say, of course, with the Gangplank Silver Serpents, it does kind of skew it just a little bit, probably more so than you realize. But with the Dragon stacks at the way they are, 2 for RNG, 1 for BLG. Both teams, actually only BLG having taken turrets at the moment. There's still a bit of standing gold available for RNG should they find the right opportunity to take those towers down.
RNG just trying to see if they can continue to push on towards the bottom half of the map. Like at the moment, I think it's more on BLG's having the cards that they can really work with here. You can see Icon will have a good amount of opportunities to roam around the map. Xiaohu can try and match that to a certain extent, but you just have to be so careful as RNG because Rise is getting to a position where he's going to be quite large. And as long as he's got bodies in front of him, or even Crisp in front of him who can tank the engage from Breed, he's going to be free to continuously move around the map, make sure he's in a relatively okay spot as Crisp nearly gets caught out there.
Yep, almost getting caught out here by the Desolate Dive. And now Gala feeling confident, goes forward onto Rise, gets him down to below half health. Breed thinking about it on the top side, but does not fully commit. Would be very dangerous, but they do get a heal out of Rise there, and they get the Summoner or the Rift Herald down as well. So they're not going to do trading 1-for-1 in terms of top and bot. They're trading it in the mid lane as well, and they keep going on this.
Yeah, you got Bin who isn't in a position to try and help out. Kind of barrage goes down, which clear out the wave, but I mean, you've still got the Rift Herald there. Keeper's Verdict cancelled here by Way. Icon not in a position, so 2 towers there. Pretty much for the only tower taken on the bottom side for BLG. Icon, though, trying to see if he can sneak in behind them. They have a clear view thanks to that pink that's sitting at the back of red.
Oh, we're going to get fully engaged there. Breed tries to find onto Crisp as Way goes in. He does have the steadfast presence. There's the Glacial Fisher. They now know that Icon is sitting along the side here. They need to push themselves away. Gala just a fraction of a Teemo away from getting caught there. But Bin is pushing the top side, trying to put some pressure down. They're actually going to jump onto Khan now straight away with the steadfast presence. Where can he go? He has to flash. There's going to be Super Mega Death Rocket. He's ticking down from the Ignite. Xiaohu picks him up, and that was so much damage from the Liandry's Torment and, of course, Liandry's Anguish and the Ignite. So now we'll see the wave as well coming out. Bin going to be caught out here. He has got flash, but where can he go? Not very far, says you, as they keep pushing it on top of him. Icon lands the charm onto Breed, but he gets saved by a flashing Catfish, and he gets himself into the Devour. It's all a bit scrappy, but the end of it all, RNG, they're kind of pulling BLG around.
And RNG are actually managing to get these picks, separate out BLG, and it looked like BLG were actually going to be in a decent spot. Bin had push on top side. Maybe they just try and rotate and take up that tower instead, but they try to go for the fight, and it all goes very sideways very quickly. Khan not in the best positions here, so gets knocked up by the, or gets stunned by the initial E coming through on the heroic charge. Then he tries to W away, ends up caught up in the steadfast presence. It was all just a bit messy coming through from Khan, and that was the overstep that RNG were waiting for to try and collapse.
This is what RNG do best. Yes, they're still behind in gold, only about 1,500, but with those 2 towers, with the, or sorry, 3 towers, because they got top lane as well, they get pretty much full control now of this mid wave, because it's such a short wave, you're not going to be able to kind of contest it as far up the lane as you possibly want to as BLG. Next dragon spawning in 20 seconds, and you've used quite a lot of things there as BLG to try and defend yourself. Khan will not have his flash available, and already losing the decoy.
Keep your eyes on Bin and Breed, though.
Oh, I think keep my eyes on Icon to lose his Banshees after using the Spirit Rush. We're going to try and see them try and burst out. Way's in a lot of trouble here, but he's already been knocked back. He hasn't gone down just yet. Finally, he falls, but it's a trade of junglers. Now you don't have a smite for anybody. Flash away by Rise. He knows if he gets hit by that Glacial Prison, he is dead. RNG now playing a very dangerous game. Gala going to be able to heal up off of this, though, as Crisp has to pop the Unbreakable because the turret sentry was doing so much, and RNG will get themselves on the soul point.
RNG able to take the fight, and that's why I was like, okay, you keep your eyes on Breathe, because Breathe has the inside track to get to that fight first if anything kicks off. So because we get trade for jungler, RNG have reinforcements there faster and are able to take the fight. We'll catch it here in the replay. So because of where Bin was positioned and Breathe had full push on bot side, he gets to run to this fight first. Icon's charms have been so close to being devastating for RNG, but he just hasn't quite been able to land them. And here, trade 1-for-1 in junglers. Now Breathe gets there faster before Bin can really come through, and it means that BLG have to hightail it on out of there.
Yeah, you can see with Bin not quite there to, threaten the barrels, put himself in a... You can see how much damage actually that the Gala took in that last fight because of the cannon barrage. It was just doing so much on the backside, exclusively him, but it doesn't matter if you're not really kind of cementing that damage into into summoners or even a bigger advantage from there, as we do get 2 items now on both AD carries. We have got 2 items onto our mid laners as well. Very defensive here from Icon's got the Banshees alongside the Everfrost. So in terms of damage output, Xiaohu's going to be miles ahead of what this Ahri can do. It's going to be all about those charms.
RNG though, trying to see if they can get vision. Ming gets caught by the charm, but will be totally oh my god!
There's the Gale Force coming over as well. They're going to try and jump onto Rise, and they've got so much damage over the wall. Waze thinks about using the Keeper's Verdict, but keeps it for another fight. That's going to be on a 15-second cooldown. Here comes the Weaver's Wall to try and separate the rest of BLG, but it puts them closer together as eventually Crisp does fall. Icon is not a part of this fight. Bin was on bot side, kind of going on playing PvE.
And that's the Baron. RNG gets to move across. I mean, just a fantastic flick from Xiaohu onto Rise causes bedlam for BLG, and now RNG will reap the rewards.
Here we go. They're going to put down the cannon barrage. They're not quite done with this one just yet. Gala does have to use the cleanse. He gets charmed away. The Baron down to 4,000 HP. They're going to try and put Khan into this fight if they possibly can. They haven't taken down the Baron just yet, but there's the Keeper's Verdict. Khan has decided, but Khan is still here, and they're going to get him taken out. So not quite able to do it. Oh, the Super Mega Death Rocket almost low enough, but RNG get the Baron. RNG get a couple more kills, and RNG now with the gold lead.
I mean, an attempt was made by BLG, but unfortunately just couldn't quite get in. And here, look, I mean, great flick from Xiaohu. So he wasn't even looking for Rise. I think he was just looking for Khan, who they saw walk into the bush and was like, oh my god, I've caught an even bigger fish. And BLG, they just crumble. Rise is the main damage source for this squad, especially with Bin pushing bot side.
I think as well, he saw the zap coming in, so he says, look, I either catch the jungler and we get Baron, or I get even luckier and I hit the jackpot in this gacha game. So get the SSSS character that you want in that particular pull, but that's exactly what he gets. Now 2 minutes 20 till the next dragon. We're not going to see that for a little bit, but RNG, I mean, it's just such a pleasure to watch this team. It's a low-kill game. They're not super scrappy, but they keep it clean. They know how to make this one work for themselves. And BLG just don't have an answer right now. As you can see, bot lanes just being pushed in by Breeze with a huge minion wave, it's got to say. And they could probably take 2-3 towers off of this push.
I mean, they're probably just going to use it to try and push for the second tower, but you do have to worry about Bin topside.
Okay, well, you get the Devour out of there, but it is going to be answered by the Glacial Fisher.
Bin is going to win topside fight.
He is going to win topside fight if they can go for it, but there's going to be Khan having to get himself out of dodge because the Graviton was coming in here for the side of RNG as Gala needs to be a little bit careful now with how far he goes forward. We can see Breed going in. He finds Crisp. Not quite finding Rise. There's going to be the Cannon Barrage and the TP. And honestly, you can keep going here as Bin. You don't really have to kind of answer this push.
Yeah, Bin is just going to be able to move back over to the top side. Xiaohu committed the TP thinking they had the engage, but Crisp with the Unbreakable keeps the dream alive. So now you have to force Breathe back to deal with Bin. And I have to say, Bin is huge. 3 items already on the Gangplank. You don't exactly have a massively tanky squad here on RNG's side, so a couple of these barrels could be game defining if Bin can find it.
And honestly, just defending so adamantly against, or admirably I should say, for BLG, they will eventually lose this tier 2. 2 or 3 more auto attacks from Gala should be enough, but that took so much of your Baron buff out of you. That took literally a minute and a half.
Yeah, 50 seconds now.
Woo.
Gala, that was not the time to ult. 50 seconds until the soul means that you're going to have to try and reset here for RNG. And I mean, BLG are going to get push a wave here. They're going to be able to rotate into River first. They can use this this advantage that they have here to try and get themselves situated on the objective and use that range advantage that they have.
I will say, though, he did use it to try and kill off Icon. Icon did use a Spirit Rush, but Spirit Rush has such a small cooldown right now. Won't be up just before the Baron, but if they can delay it by a couple of seconds, but look at Breed. He's already on the backside here, and they're going to be able to catch out Icon. Take him out. Doesn't matter if you don't have your summoners up right now because you're going to die. There's the Weaver's Wall, the flash in, catches out Rise, and he gets the double knock-up. That is Ming on prime condition right now. You think he's not on an engaged champion? Think again. This is RNG. They don't even need the soul. They can end the game right here.
Yeah, you think that he's just playing defensive, but you've been catfished. He's actually on the engaged champion the whole time. RNG now gonna rock this one on in. You've only got 2 members of BLG, and Bin is big, but how big?
How big? He preferred to completely miss, but maybe that was a good thing because now Bin is probably going to be
Very
going
small.
down very small. He's not that big anymore, and as he goes back to the grey screen, I will say it's an admirable effort there from BLG. They tried so hard, but again, you play standards, you play late game, you are in RNG's house, and the house never loses.
I mean, you're into RNG's domain, and they're perfectly happy to continue to show you why they're so good here, but the engage starting to come through.
I mean, it's coming through right now, as you can see there. Khan trying to go in with see his base is going as well as possible. They're keeping the Nexus open alive to see what they can do. Rise will get up one kill. Rise can get more.
Wait a second.
No!
Gala!
No, Gala will turn it off. He does not want anyone else getting it going for him. But that was a little bit too close for Guns. RNG having a bit of fun right at the end.
That could have gone very wrong very quickly.
It would have been Dragon, Baron, like probably 3 towers or something.
Yeah, exactly. And a bunch of gold onto the one person you didn't want, but Gala's able to finish it. So RNG will manage to take the 2-0 sweep over BLG. Honestly, I don't think any real surprises with the way that RNG have been at the moment. And unfortunately for BLG, we're still seeing them really struggle when they try to go for these late game team fights. Because although it can work against some of our lower teams, as you say, RNG spectacular when it comes towards how they want to play the map, how they set up for these fights, and also just how quickly they can turn some of these fights around, even if Rise just mispositions once.
Yeah, again, it's just one moment where they didn't have a tab on where Breathe was. Breathe puts himself into the red buff and says there's absolutely no way they've wards. They've just spent 2.5 minutes bot side. And he was right. They didn't have anything. He catches out Icon. They catch out Rise. And I always think that in my head there is a very definitive top 4 in the LPL right now. It does feel like it's V5 top esports probably is our top 2. JDG and RNG is then 3 and 4 in whatever order you decide. And then after that, it's up to other people to kind of upset that. We've seen Weibo do that against V5. We've seen what EDG can do. Again, they're still reigning world champions, but it's so hard to look beyond those 4 teams at the moment, especially as we're coming closer and closer to the end of the playoffs, or end of the season,
And especially with Xiaohu has performances like this, nearly 25,000 damage on the Taliyah from the mid lane. Xiaohu, honestly, MVP for this game. Moves around up towards topside to help Breathe out in the early stages of the game. The flick that really caused the distress for BLG came from Xiaohu being able to catch out Rise. And honestly, Xiaohu just having that kind of omnipresence made it very difficult for BLG to activate themselves.
Yeah, they really did, and I think it's just, you know, kind of see that the graph, it was going well for BLG. They were making solid moves. There was actually a lot of good to say in the early game. They were able to kind of make work for themselves, but I think, honestly, straight up losing that Dragons, straight up, like just not clearing the ward. I actually went down beforehand, but they saw it go down, so they should have known that someone was going to come in. But it is what it is, and unfortunately for BLG, that does put them into a pretty big hole. 4 and 7. You've already played 11 games. You've got 5 series left. Like, that is hard to try and come up against.
Yeah, I mean, especially when it's not exactly the easiest of ends to the split for them.
No.
Like, they only just play, so lost to RNG, they have JDG, FPX, V5, and I mean, even honestly OMG still to play, who are looking
great.
kind of a bit terrifying if you're a BLG. Like, this is not exactly the easiest of times, and unfortunately it looks like despite all the mixing and matching and trying to see what could work where, it just hasn't come together for BLG. I mean,